It doesn't have to be done the way Wisconsin does it. In fact, you don't have to look far to see a significantly different approach to redistricting right across our border in Iowa. They back in the 1970s, created a new system that took redistricting out of the hands of state legislators. And they created a system where a nonpartisan legislative service agency draws the districts. And state law in Iowa specifically spells out what that agency the criteria that that agency has to follow. They cannot consider demographic information or party affiliation data that the politicians use when they create the designer districts tailor-made for their reelection. This agency can't even consider the address, the home addresses of the current office holders. And, you know, that's one of the games that we've seen played over the years, is we'll see a district that is held by one party, and in the next round of redistricting, the prime challenger to that party's incumbent will suddenly have been drawn out of the district. The person who is the most serious challenger suddenly doesn't live in that district anymore. And you know, it actually happened in Illinois once, in a U.S. House district that happened to be the home district of somebody called Barack Obama. Because the person who held the seat was worried that Barack Obama was going to challenge him and take his seat away, so they drew the Obama household out of the district and got rid of him. Well, of course, you know, that fellow ended up going on and running for U.S. Senate and then some higher office and did okay for himself, I guess. But he was seen as a threat, and the incumbent office holder got rid of him. And we've seen that kind of thing happen here. And then, to me, the classic example, it doesn't affect this area of the state, but it's a classic example of incumbent protection gerrymandering. And that would be the 1st congressional district and the 2nd congressional district. The 1st district is held by Paul Ryan, a Republican. The 2nd district is held by Tammy Baldwin, currently a Democrat. In the last round of redistricting, what they did is they took part of Beloit, heavily Democratic, out of the 1st district, took it away from Ryan's district, and gave it to Baldwin. And they took part of Waukesha County, one of the most Republican areas of the state, and they put that in the 1st. So simultaneously, what Obie and Sensenbrenner did is they made Baldwin's district more Democratic and easier for her to win re-election, and they made Paul Ryan's district more Republican and easier for him to maintain power. Now, in the last 10 years, only once has the 2nd congressional district been within that 10-point margin of victory, and that was in 2000. As soon as the redistricting was done, there's never been a contest that was within 10 points. Paul Ryan's never faced such a challenge. He's never had a competitor within 10 points. What we've had in Wisconsin is only one congressional district that could be considered competitive, and that's right here in the 8th. There have been 2 elections in 2006 and 2008 that were within the 10-point margin of victory. We have 1 out of 8 districts in Wisconsin that can be considered competitive. In Iowa, there are 5 congressional districts, 5 U.S. House districts. 4 of them are routinely within 10 points, and sometimes the 5th is too. You can make an argument that all 5 of their congressional districts are competitive. That's because they have a nonpartisan process that legislators can't tinker with. And Wisconsin could do the same. Or we could do what Arizona has done. They created an independent redistricting commission. There are representatives from both major parties. There are some nonpartisans on there. They draw the districts. So one of our long-term goals is also to build awareness of and support for a change in the way we handle redistricting in Wisconsin, so that after the 2020 census, if we can make this round of redistricting the most accountable and transparent ever, I'd like to make the redistricting that's done after 2020 the first in Wisconsin that's done under a new process, to actually change to a system like the one in Iowa or like the one in Arizona that could yield us some much more meaningfully competitive elections and help us deal with these problems of the partisan gridlock. And if nothing else, one of the things it would do is it would save us from having to spend $3 million of our money to help them draw districts that hurt us as voters and give us fewer choices and less ability to shake up the system. So we can do this better. We can draw a better Wisconsin. And I hope that you'll start that process right here at home in mid-2011 by engaging in conversation with your local elected officials, with city council members, alders, and county board members, and get them to sit down with you and talk about how these communities should be carved up, how district lines should be drawn there. And then don't stop with that. Start to engage your state legislators, your representatives in the Assembly and Senate on these same issues. Get them thinking about this and get them listening to you, because that's the way we'll ultimately crack this nut, and I think and get us to a better place that gives us a better chance to have the kind of representation that we want.